where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you made it here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by BetOnline.AG and Balance7.com. If you're into sports betting, BetOnline is where you should go to win money today. Whether it's live bets during games or futures for who you think will win the championship, BetOnline has all the latest odds, news, and information for all your online betting needs. Visit the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before the next big game, head on over to BetOnline and start playing today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. So I don't know if you heard, but apparently former NBA player Lamar Odom may be returning to professional basketball in Spain soon. I was reading a press release about how he started taking a pH balancing alkaline supplement called Balance 7, and that's what has helped him bounce back from his hospitalization in 2015. He even said, "I have an enormous amount of energy, which is good for me. It's important when working out. I always need energy to level up." I couldn't agree more with Lamar, and after watching him fight Aaron Carter in July's celebrity boxing match, I think it's safe to say that Balance 7 is working for him. Cool thing is, we've got a promotion running with Balance 7 right now, where if you go to their website, balance7.com, and use the code BELIEVE, BLEAV, at checkout, you'll receive a free 4-ounce bottle of My Smooth Skin with any purchase of Balance 7 products. That product retails at $13.99, so I'd say it's pretty worth it. Again, head to balance7.com and use the code BLEAV at checkout to get in on the promotion. I know I will. If it worked for him, I think it can work for you too. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns. We got the day of episode, so we're going to have our game in a couple hours. But how are you guys doing, JD and E?
Good.
Middle of the day, and Eric's drinking coffee.
Ooh, okay. I got my pre-workout here.
Pre-workout. So you already work out? You got the pre-workout, or you just getting amped for the game? So what it is?
After this is over, I'm going to try to edit it real fast. I'm going to try to get a quick pump in before watching the game tonight.
I got you. I see.
Yeah, because there'll be a lot of people on TV watching the game, so you have to get it up before the game and have to get some retweets and some viewers.
It's actually a perfect time to get the content up right when everyone's like ready to watch. But before we do get into the show and talk about last week's stuff and what we're going to see tonight, we do have some good news. Our friend Lional Dalton just had surgery yesterday, and he got himself a new kidney. And just give a special shout out to our guy Lionel.
That was tremendous. That was big time news, man. Happy for him and his family. You know, it's you never know what kind of opportunities you give people with these little platforms. You know, we may not be, you know, what a lot of these major, you know, Shannon Sharps and ESPN, other guys are doing their podcasts, but you know, we can produce some sort of awareness with the little things that we do have. And very, very happy to see that he's on that road to recovery now with the new kidney transplant.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, so much welcoming news, and like you said, our little humble, network that we content put together, man. Hey, man, we're just looking for a thing to reach out, touch some people.
Yeah.
So I said that, man. That awareness is very important. It was important, you know, and we, you know, if it was already in the works, it was a beautiful thing. So he was just thanking some of the doctors, and I seen some people just give him some well wishes and prayers. And so I just want to also too, you know, thank the recipient, not just recipient, but the one that's the giver of the kidney. That's a huge sacrifice that somebody's doing, and it's one of those things, man, that feels good, that just knowing that there's good people still out here and still want to be able to help and, you know, and touch people, to just make them, you know, feel good. How we can do to make people, better. As when we got to do a much better job of doing that, man. So, but I just want to give them a shout and just tell them, man, thank you too. And I know E said this in a tweet earlier. all the people that was a part of this, that, was given a platform, just, kind of giving, a voice to Lionel to help, expedite this situation. So, man, thank God. God is good. So it's beautiful for Lionel. And we're looking for his improvement, soon. So
yeah.
A huge congrats.
Yeah.
For sure. And honestly, and the beauty about this whole thing, and obviously it's been 2020 is when he found out. So about a year and 8 months. And then, him to be able to go on and talk about his kidney failure, and talk about and bringing light to an issue that a lot of people don't really know about, what can go on with your kidneys, how important they are for your bodily function. And for Lionel to kind of go out there and, talk about it openly as a former NFL player. I mean, Lionel has done a lot of good in so many different areas, whether it's Baltimore area, talking about from the Chiefs Kingdom side of things. I mean, he spread the word out there, man. What's going on our show, going on Good Morning America, all over the place. And so power to Lionel for doing all that. And that's speedy recovery, man.
I'm gonna say this real quick too, and I thank you for his vulnerability. Just kind of bringing the awareness to it, and just letting people know that that's part of the struggle. Because sometimes people just don't do that. They don't let their personal business kind of get out there and let people know that they need necessarily help. I seen this quick story. I seen this older man leaving from the hospital. I went up to go see my nephew, and he was just like, "It's my last day here." Older gentleman in his 80s. And I said, "Man, that's a blessing." He said, "Yeah, it is." He said, "I was dealing with, being sick for about 5 weeks." He said, "My son told me, 'Dad, stop being a tough guy. Go in and go get checked out.'" He said, I'm thankful and thank God I went in to go get checked out, because now I'm getting out of the hospital, because it could have been even worse." And so, we talking about mental health, physical health, things the guys deal with, in the NFL, man. It's important. It's important for us to talk about those things. And I know he agrees with me a whole lot, because, it's me, and sometimes it's my cheesy, and stuff like that. We just feel like, man, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be all right. Man, look, go get checked out. Go make sure you're doing all right. Let's go take care of each other. Take care of yourself. You can't be good for other people. You're not taking care of yourself. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Good words of wisdom right there. And I mean, even young bucks like myself, we got to remember to go get checked out. I have some friends who, when I went to get my physical a couple months ago, like, "Oh man, I've got a physical since like senior year of high school when we had to for football." I'm like, "Geez, man, it's it's been like 9 years. You should probably go do that." But it's great advice right there, JD. And Lionel's he's out, and I saw a video earlier. He's out and ready to go. He's on the road to recovery already. He's in good spirits, laughing, and I'm sure he's gonna be watching the 8:00 game on NFL Network. Our Chiefs are coming to play or Minnesota's coming to play the Chiefs tonight. So I'm sure will be watching them in good spirits tonight.
Yes, sir. I saw Breland had a text, and it was like, well, he's happy to be back in Kansas City. And the best part about that tweet was a lot of the fans, the Kansas City fans, were so happy. And it's like, they're happy for him. A lot of them wish you were back in Kansas City. And Tyrann Mathieu was one of the first to respond to his tweet. And I forget, was like something like the champ is back in town. So a lot of people don't understand, like, man, you build family networks with this game. I don't know if I'm one of the few, but for me, I depend on a lot of these relationships, for whatever reasons that these guys have put in my life and have stayed in my life, that continue to respond to my text messages. It keeps me somewhat better mentally able to get through a lot of my days. We have a lot of texts per week. Jason tells you that we just send out random stuff. And whether it's to share, whether it's to inform people, whether it's to, cut jokes, it's just to keep that, that unity, that family, and that camaraderie that you built over the years. And I love it because those guys went to war with me, and they also understand, like, a lot of the things I've dealt with, outside of football, my family, what I'm dealing with now. And so me, myself, I've always kept in touch with everybody. Like, I'm talking about from when I first started with the Chiefs. And fortunately, we have another guy that's going to be coming on the show soon in a few weeks. That was my first year. You know, he was my mentor when I got to Kansas City. That's James Hastings. So I'm excited to have him come on the show, you know, in a few weeks. So, yeah, I've taken pride in keeping my relationships built with these guys. And so, you know, that's something that I always look forward to, and hearing from the guys and just sending out those text messages and you can read it through the text message, the excitement. Man, I'm so glad to hear from you. I hadn't heard from you in a while. So yeah, that stuff. It brightens other people's day and it brightens my day. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, brother. 100% on that. You know, and like you said, just that smile of that text coming in, and sometimes it's not enough to think about somebody, right? Reaching out and talking to them and just a quick little text is all. You know, somebody just needs that relationship, just to know that you're up, that you're breathing, you're alive, as opposed to just wondering. I have a good friend, man, who always convicts me, and he calls it like, JD, look, I just want 5 minutes, quick 5-minute conversation. I'm gone. We don't have to talk for 10, 30. You know, we don't have to do all that chit chat. I'm gonna just see how you're doing, how your family's doing, and he leaves it at that, man. I'm just like, you know what? I need to take that approach a little bit more. Sometimes our lives get busy. We think we're so busy we don't have time for things. Man, we can do a 5-minute conversation. Sure, and we know it. And some of these things also too are this craziness out here, just dividing guys and people is just ridiculous to me. But that, man, like you said, man, just the camaraderie of guys that you just play with is just a blessing. It's beautiful to have these people in your life that you know you're gonna have in your life, you know, until, you know, we're not here anymore. And I think that's why we're here, brother. I think that's why I know it's why we're here. I am not know what I think. I know for a fact.
Yeah. And the camaraderie and chemistry you guys have with your former teammates, even with each other right here, we see it every week on the show. It's beautiful that you guys, you know, guys let us in to see, you know, the relationships you guys have, whether it's Lionel Dalton or is Eric Hicks or other guys who are coming on the show, or James Hasty in a few weeks. It's nice to see that, you know, that camaraderie and chemistry that you guys had back in the day. It still exists now in 2021. So it's awesome.
But see, you've also become a part of it. Like, so now you're gonna get these text messages for the rest of your life, phone calls from me, you know, JD. Mm-hmm. You know, when you have your first kid, I might even pop up and be in the waiting room.
I love that. Hopefully a couple more years till that, though.
I'm just saying, just speaking.
Well, I'm gonna come eat over at your house. You said your dad could cook some, you know, some mean food. So I'm gonna come and sit down and break bread with you. I'm gonna do that too. So
come on over. But yeah, no, it's just amazing how the whole Chiefs Kingdom community, from the fans, from the players, and just, I mean, it really is. You know, when they say it's a family, Chiefs Kingdom is a family. I know it's cliche to say that, but Chiefs Kingdom, it really is, top to bottom. All right, so we're gonna get into our first Chief concern tonight. Last week was game 2 of preseason. We saw a little more of the guys tonight, which is kind of surprising. The game 3 of preseason was usually the last game of preseason. It's usually there's no starters at all, but the guys are gonna be playing more tonight than they did last week. They're playing a whole half tonight, but last week they played about a quarter and a half. Now, what you guys saw from last week against the Cardinals, what were some of the takeaways that you guys saw in that second preseason game?
Okay. All right. So some of the takeaways that I saw that kind of just jumped out to me. I would maybe concerned or maybe thought about was maybe the wide receivers. Pat looked a little off. Right, second preseason game, you don't have Hill out there to throw the ball to, so Hardman, it becomes your number one, right? And so you could tell the timing was off with him and Patrick, and so that was like a little concern. I'm like, okay, so he's getting a lot of chances, a lot of shots, and it's still that learning time that you have to get, So we keep forgetting, he's young, hasn't been there that long, so we still got to learn how to work up to be, not just number one guy, but number two. So, solidifying that spot for number two, we was talking about a couple of weeks ago, it hadn't been done. To me, it hadn't been done at all. So that is concern as far as the number two. But I think the guys, I'm not losing any confidence on those guys. I just want somebody to kind of at least take that, the reins of being the number two. Saying, look, this is the staple. I'm the number two. No doubt about it who I am. But at least I see some younger guys that kind of come in a conversation about making the team also too. And so that was, one of my concerns. Another concern I had, I think, man, Chris Jones played real well. He did a heck of a job on defense. And so he looks even more beautiful out there, man, at defensive end. He does. Anytime, look, you try to single him up, man, he's going to win. I'm going to take him all day, every day of the week. So he did a tremendous job. Special teams, I wanted the runners get up the field. There was a lot of that, just juking around and running. I love, Twitter doing some memes. They were showing the guys just kind of like constantly doing this and not going anywhere. So I need to see a return guy. Like, man, who's going to be? Who's going to be the guy to come up and say, be dynamic, making some returns, making people miss, getting up the field. So that's a little frustrating. So that's what I see. That's my takeaway. I'm kind of waiting to see what is going to happen tonight, but that's my concern right now. There's a number two receiver starting to make a staple, somebody pulling away and make it just known that I'm that guy. So that's where I'm at with it.
So I do the whole comparison again, and mine is still with Golden State. So I feel like, with the offensive line, still working on their chemistry, we're still working on the timing. We already know what our core unit is going to look like, and that's, Patrick, what Tariq Hill is going to look like, what Kelsey's going to look like. That's the nucleus of what we, win games with. So that's all. That's going to be prepared no matter what part of the season, preseason, beginning, mid, late, post. That's going to always be, that firecracker that gets us started and keeps us going. So basically, we as fans, we want to see what the rest of the crew looks like. How well is the offensive line blocking? How well is this, this mountain that we just got from Baltimore going to hold up throughout the season? And I think that with the receiving core, they'll find their way once, we get Patrick back playing full speed, Kelsey full speed, Tariq Hill at full speed. That's going to make things easier for that Mecole Hardman or Robson to come in and to shine at the second receiver spot. Because there won't be much focused on it. You got to focus on those two main guys of Hill and Kelsey, or Kels, should I say. So right now, I don't put too much concern on what Patrick didn't do, what Patrick's doing, what the receivers aren't doing, and what they are doing. I just want to see how well the offensive line holds up. Now, yes, it's going to get in the season. We looked real good last season, until we started falling off with injuries late. Which is what hurt us in the end, eventually. But so far, everything looks good to me. I have no complaints. I was real happy with the touchdown, thrilled with the touchdown catch that we had in the end zone. Come back and to scoop it up on the short throw, and really excited with the interception that Thornhill had. So the guys are looking good. Chris Jones is our defense. Just like I know we spoke that said that Tyron is the Tyrann Mathieu is the Mahomes of the defense, but I think it's Chris Jones. Chris is our unstoppable force. And moving him to defensive end, I think it costs Taco his job, but hey, I'd rather have CJ out there anyway. Whether he's going to be moved around like Aaron Donald, from tackle to end, to make room for whomever else that we might need. I'm excited about it. I have no concerns right now. I know we weren't at full capacity. I know we're on at full speed. We're still getting our feet wet. We're still getting that, legs under us to get prepared for this first game. So yeah, tonight I think it's supposed to be a whole first half. So you'll see a faster pace. You'll see more intensity. You'll probably see some bigger plays made out there today. And I also think that as a second, some guys are kind of second guessing themselves because of the new rules and having to come up to make tackles. You can't hit low, you can't cut low. But then I don't know what they're calling that box of cut blocks now that's going to be penalized. So, you having to go up and second guess. Usually we go up and there's not even a second thought. You just go up and make the tackle, whether you cutting through a guy and trying to take out an offensive line or whatever. But you got some of that stuff plays into your mind, into the game, when you have to go up and second guess yourself. How am I going to go up and make this play?
Weight room.
Man, weight room ain't gonna do nothing. You going up there trying to hit that big old dude that's coming at you running, 4'7", 4'8", 300 plus. Weight room's gonna do nothing. Matter of fact, I saw on the Instagram the Dallas Cowboys have their fullback was pulling a diesel truck. So I'm like, so what's the point of this? Like he can crawl and pull a diesel. So is Zeke gonna run for 4,000 yards because the fullback's gonna open up holes this big? I mean, if you're that strong and you can pull a truck, you ought to be able to open up holes as big as the truck, right?
That's right. He better. Should he pull I'm like, man, you pull that truck, you can't even knock out and open up a hole.
Exactly. So yeah, you out there pulling trucks like that's impressive. I won't sit there and knock you for it, but let's see what kind of blocking you can do. But even though that has nothing to do with the Chiefs, it was more so you talking about getting in the weight room and trying to come up and make the tackle on these big dudes.
Well, keep it with you.
That's an executive decision right there.
I hear you. Look, I get it. But I'm like, if you bow up a little bit more, man, eat a little bit more oatmeal, saying, your Wheaties, put out maybe an extra 5 pounds, man. Start going up underneath people's chin. I don't know. I get the executive decision. Look, Deion lived by the executive decision. He didn't get absolutely. Look, no physicality out there on the secondary whatsoever. I remember one time I tried to run Deion over, and he sidestepped me. He sidestepped me and tackled me after I got past him. I was like, I got him on like, yo, what was that all about? He said, "Nah, Big Don, I ain't gonna do that. That's an executive decision right there." I said, I got you. I understood it. I understood it.
That's a smart man.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah. So, but I'm looking. So I'm not trying to be hard on guys, but look, I understand what is expected out of you, and we both know what's expected out of you in the NFL. And I think Harmon coming in, who we think number two, but actually became the number one last week. So it's like, well, look, I'm looking for separation, right? Clear separation, kind of run from guys, running the routes looking a little crisp. And so I guess the question to me is, with tonight, and I don't really have any concern, but if I don't see that separation maybe from those number twos in itself, I guess the question comes in, would you be served better bringing in maybe a veteran guy? Just because I seen Golden Tate like hey, bring me in Golden. He was saying that. And you said his name early in the year 2 about Golden Tate. I don't know. I'm just saying. And like I said, I don't really have that much concern. I just know we have a young room. Yeah. But the guys, I don't really question their ability as much. I don't. But to me, I'm just looking for, like, as a coach and then the player, I'm like, that separation you're just kind of looking for. He did make a great catch in the end zone. Absolutely. And that's all I was saying. Another thing too, Hilaire's is injury, with his ankle. Another thing, but McKinnon played well. I think we'll be good, as far as running backs too. So, but yeah, that's what, at least in my eye, I'm just sitting there. I'm looking like, man, okay, that's another opportunity, and I'm looking at the routes. I'm looking at what they're running, and shoot. I mean, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at separation.
But you get, Jace, you get good leadership in those rooms. You necessarily don't need that veteran to come in, because you already got a good veteran leadership from Kelsey. And we'll quit saying Kelsey and say Kels. And Tariq Hill. And Hardman's not young. I mean, he's got experience. He's got his feet wet. And Robinson the same way. So it's not like, Golden Tate's going to come in and teach them anything new. They fought, at the epitome, in the Super Bowl and won. So, I mean, it's not like they haven't been under real fire and haven't seen, the game at its fastest. So these guys, they've been through the dungeon. They fought.
Right. I'm just saying with, a veteran guy, can he teach him some things? Yeah, absolutely. They can teach him some things. Shoot, you just, by experience, you learn. You learn, maybe not working hard and working smarter. And so I remember I seen, what's the name? I can't think his name, was talking to CeCe Lamb. CeCe Lamb was asking like, hey, man, what do you do to get open? He was asking Amari. Amari's like, look, this is how you set a guy up even more. So, we're all trying to look to get more, information to help us out better. And I'm sure he's got those guys out there. That's all I was saying. Like, it's not going to hurt. It would just help, help develop those younger guys. Having a veteran in there, just kind of talking to them, whatever it is, how coaches do. Coaches will bring a veteran in just for his presence, just for his experience.
But right? I'm saying, so I think we got that kind of presence in Tyreek Hill. I know he depends more so on his speed than what he knows of the game. But
right.
Heck, he's been around. What is this, 6th, 7th year? I think so. Yeah. Kels, just as long as anybody else. Or longer.
Right. No, I get it. I do. I get it. I know.
So let the young guys continue to learn and thrive.
Right. No, look, and I think they did a good job just kind of, being young, going out there and making plays. And so, every year, more is expected of you. Every single year is going to be more expected of you. Yeah, okay, let's build off of this, right? So if not, I'm not saying they're not clearly looking like they're getting better or growing. But sometimes, I'm just looking as a fan, and like I said, as you're looking for that, like, oh, okay, he's taking that leap. He's taking that step, right? So that's all I was saying. Especially like for Hardman, I guess what people were expecting. Okay, Tyreek's not in, so we're going to see now. Okay, you're the number one guy, right? We don't pencil you in as number two. You're number one guy. Can you handle it? So, which I think he'll get better, man. Look, it's preseason. I get it. This is what preseason is for. I got it. Now, if it was like game 4 or 5, you're like, well, shoot, okay, what's going on, right? So yeah, I'm not going. I'm just talking out loud.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. His separation has been kind of his, or lack of separation has been kind of his, like, one of those things to improve on since he came out of Georgia. And obviously, he wasn't a receiver all years at Georgia. Right. But he kind of he transformed into that position. But that's been something that people have been looking at. And I remember, I forgot one of the beat reporters posted a video of one-on-ones versus Bo Peep Keys, and I think it was a comeback route, but there was no separation at all from from Bo Peep. Bo Peep ended up picking off the pass. And someone was like, of course, look at Hardman, year 3, still can't separate. Same story, different year or whatever. Obviously, it's one-on-ones. We've talked about how one-on-ones don't really mean anything. But it just shows you. And then when you see the game where, God forbid, something happens to Tyreek Hill or Kelsey in a game, Hardman becomes that number 1 spot. I mean, he's the number 1 guy. I mean, we kind of saw it last week, preseason, right? But, it's definitely something to – maybe talk about bringing another vet in. I know Chief fans want us to trade for Michael Thomas, but obviously that's not going to happen. But
I'm good, man. I just think that I like what we have. We've said this week after week about our receiving core. We're young. We have. I'll say we got good leadership in Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek is that one of a kind. He's a top 3, to me, top 3 receiver in this league.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So, having to learn from him to see how he uses his speed, whether it's against the guy's size and length, to get open in certain routes. And I think Mecole has to do the same thing. And I know he had a tweet. It was a tweet or something on Instagram to where he posted something about Jalen Ramsey and said that, he was watching a lot of film on Ramsey and said he was the real deal. And I think that shows him like how you going up against the best corner how do you get a separation? What is that corner doing to put himself in situation against some of the best receivers? So that shows you he's trying to make improvements. He's wanting to be good,
right?
Especially with the separation part.
Yeah.
And last thing on Hardman before we get to the next topic. This week, Jeff Schwartz, former O-lineman for the Chiefs, tweeted something, I think, during the Cardinals game last week saying the Chiefs need to find a number 2 wide receiver because Hardman ain't it, or something like that. Hardman ended up taking that. He took a screenshot of that tweet that Jeff Schwartz put and put it as his main profile picture on Twitter. So added motivation for the guy right there.
Let's see what happens.
Look, man. Here's the reality. Anytime you're projected to be number 1 and number 2 on a depth chart as far as wide receivers being a starter, you're gonna have expectations. Period. And guys shouldn't look. I know he's not shying away from it, and like he said, he's studying to do what he needs to do to get himself up there. Sometimes we just evaluating where he's at right now, and that's what I'm just doing, evaluating where he is right now. So, but I do like the room. I'm not taking away. I like the guys in the room. I do. I've been saying that, so I'm gonna stick with it.
Lots of young talent. So, and another thing to what he was saying, having Tyreek Hill in the room, especially from 2 speed guys, and a guy like Tyreek Hill who wasn't a receiver, they kind of have a similar trajectory or path to where they are right now, where like Tyreek wasn't a receiver. He had to learn and become that during his playing days in the NFL to become a receiver. So, I mean, they're very, very similar, like kind of career paths in a way of how they got to where they are right now. So Tyreek Hill's the number 1 guy to learn from for Mecole Hardman.
Right.
Okay, so our next concern is something that E alluded to. So this week we had the second round of cuts, and the number 1 name on there was Taco Charlton. He got released. Now I was kind of surprised by just for the fact that Frank Clark could be getting suspended. There's still an unknown there. What's going to happen with Frank Clark? So for me, I'm like, I want as much depth as possible in the DN spot, but they obviously like some young guys there. But were you guys surprised about the Taco Charlton release?
Yeah, he was about the only name that I saw on the list that I was surprised to see go, especially he was starting to come on before he got hurt. So for whatever reason, Spags and the rest of the crew, they didn't think that he was making the transition fast enough to be a part of the squad. So, and especially, and it might have hurt him that, with the movement of Chris Jones being inside, outside, I think that, my opinion is that they feel like Jaron Reed is going to be good enough to hold up the middle and to put pressure to where, Chris is able to move inside and outside to where whatever young talent, that we have there, that could be the depth that they do have. And the Frank Clark situation, they might have some inside news that, he's probably going to be there, throughout the season. And if not, they got something up their sleeves. Taco's had done some tremendous things for his short time here. And for them to get rid of him at this point, I feel like, either he wasn't making the progress that they were expecting, or they were just wanting to give him a better opportunity somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that's part of the release in itself. And like you said, the progression, they weren't quite seeing what they thought they was going to see. Especially like you said, kind of being limbo with Frank. I think he's going to miss a few games, suspended, for a few. I don't know how you're going to be able to get away from that. But he was one of the guys I had already on the bubble on the 53. I actually didn't have him on the 53-man roster. And and look, nothing against him, but this is part of like what the NFL, like the evaluation, what they look at guys. I mean, sure, if you've been in the league for 4 or 5 years, and guys, they looking at like, look, man, we're looking for you to make the strides right now, right? You can't just keep sitting back and trying to be this guy. We need for you to make that growth and the progression like we expect you to. If not, then that's why we got Kando, the younger guy that we brought in. We're going to try to develop him and get out here. And they thinking, well, shoot, if he can do the exact same thing that you're doing, then what's the point of keeping you, right? So we're going to give you a better opportunity. Maybe another team will take you. Hey, you know what? Appreciate everything you've done. Hey, but, go find, work somewhere else. Hopefully he'll find somewhere, get on somewhere else, man. I like him as a defensive end. But you got younger guys, man. I mean, that's why they drafted defensive end, because they know they needed help. And they're going to take that time and opportunity and put it into the young guy to try to develop him. So I want to see what he's going to be able to do tonight. You know, I want to see a little bit more out of him, man. I haven't really been getting, and he's young, but I need to see a little bit more motor. That motor, I don't see no motor from him. So, you know, this is, you know, a guy that blocks defensive ends and, you know, used to play that. Look, motor is what they're looking for. They're looking for the moves. They're looking, shoot. And like you said, look, you can learn from the guys that's there. Gando can learn from those guys that's there. But yeah, Taco, you know, good luck to him. Good luck to him. But this is a business, man. Shoot, that's how it works. So like I said, I hopefully he gets on somewhere else though.
Yeah, he's young and talented, so he's going to get picked up no matter what.
Right.
You know, they're bringing up that situation with Frank is like, I don't know why the NFL is kind of dragging their feet with that situation on Frank Clark. You know, it's the same thing with Deshaun Watson. Like they have no idea what they're going to do when they could have just, you know, given these guys some sort of news. Hey, we're going to suspend you guys for the season, for a couple of games or whatever else. But heck, we're how many? Couple of weeks, couple of days from the season starting. Yeah. Nobody knows anything.
Right. You know what, man? I think they know. I think they just kind of talking behind closed doors. You know, they don't want to tell everything right now, so they try to get all their ducks in a row. and all of it is covering themselves, right? You know, because there's always that backlash, and you know, well, how do we go out and do, you know, collateral damage on this by saying this is what's going on, you know, with the investigation and that, and like you said, that's all messy. Like the whole investigation.
Yeah, but when you got Deshaun Watson as the franchise, you know, of your team, and you know he's at practice running reps with the ones, and you know you don't know anything.
Right.
So are you gonna let him play the season? You gonna suspend him or what? So I mean, it's like I said, we're only a couple of weeks away from kickoff.
Right. Yeah, it is messy, man. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is weird how they are dragging their feet, because like you think of like years past when Tyreek Hill's whole situation came out on draft night 2 years ago, and everyone's like, oh man, the NFL's got to do something about this. Right away, they put him on the commissioner's exempt list right away. And at this point, we're talking Watson's going to practice, is standing around there, and like it's kind of awkward and weird. They don't know who's getting the Tyrod and Watson. And then Frank Clark, we're talking about this right now. Is he going to be the guy day one? It's weird they are dragging their feet. It's unlike the NFL to drag their feet on these things. Usually they just put these guys on commissioner's exempt list on a whim. So it's interesting. I don't get it. All right. So our next concern is kind of as we get down to this week, we're going to see the final round of cuts. And so JD, I know you have a list of guys. You have your 53. So I'm curious if you see if there's any guys on there who are possible surprise cut candidates. I know Taco Charlton was a surprise this past week. If there's any guys that you think that, you know, it may surprise a lot of people on your list that you think they're going to get cut this week. And another question I have, speculation, was that this week a lot of Chief fans and some of the Chief writers were saying that Demarcus Robinson could be on the bubble to making the team. And they say that a big hint to that is having him return punts last week to kind of prove his worth that he can return punts. And I don't know if you saw what the special teams coach Dave Toop said this week. He said it was a disaster. He did not like him as a return man. Me watching, I didn't like the one hand carrying the ball like a loaf of bread on the returns. I just didn't like that. But I mean, that's just one thing. I didn't see it that way because Robinson's a receiver. You know, he's gonna get playing time. So I don't see him being cut at all. But that was a speculation I saw. But what are some surprise guys that could be on the bubble this week, if you guys have in mind?
Yeah, heck, I couldn't tell you at this point right now, like who has a big name that could be released. Like I think we're set with the people that we have, and if anything, it's going to be one of those younger guys that how much playing time, what can you contribute to the team, and you know, whether practice squad or special team. So. And to the team as for depth. So I couldn't give you a name at this point to where, I mean, and Robinson might be the only one, but heck, you know, he's within that receiver core, which we've been speaking highly of to what they can bring to this season, and especially with everybody trying to fight for that second position. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't give you a name.
So I'm looking at my list right now, and I got a couple of names in parentheses. but I don't see anybody like, to me, that would be a shock. I don't think Robinson's on the bubble at all. I think it's just another, give him another opportunity, right? Of what you can do. Let's just see what he can do. And so I look at it like this: the more he can do, the better off he can be. I learned that a long time ago. Coach told me, I said, man, the more you can do, the better off you're gonna be. So try to learn everything, right? Try to learn everything. If you can return punts, shoot, add value to yourself. And so you got to do it thinking of, in the future what it could hold for you as well. So I don't think he was one of the guys that we were high on, to sign him. And I think, man, to be honest with you, maybe the punts in itself might have taken him away a little bit from maybe the wide receiver. So now all of a sudden, like, look, you go on over there. Just don't even worry about it. Have a seat. Just go catch footballs. And so now, if he's just concentrating on this, and now maybe he's looking, and guys know where other guys are in the room. We can't act like we don't. And so he might be like, look, everybody been talking about, Mecole being the second guy. Why they count me out? So this might be his thing right here to say, look, man, I came here to try to be the number 2. I got signed to be that guy. I'm trying to bring it back now. So I want to see what he does this first half of this game. And so I need to see a lot out of him, man. But I think he's kind of motivated silently, to do more, because then all of a sudden, like that whole bubble, I think he's on a bubble, he might get cut. I don't think he's going to get cut. I don't think so. I don't think you kind of take the time, sign a guy, and then cut him, especially a young guy who's done enough, like you said, to try to show that he's good enough to be on the roster, to be considered like a number 2. This is his chance. So we got to see it, though. But I don't think he's on a bubble. But name-wise, I think some of the younger guys that I'm looking at may go on practice squad. I'll say that. So
I mean, some of the names that have been thrown out there in recent days is Tardif, who's making a lot of money to be the backup guard, which, as we saw last year, reserves, especially at the O-line, are very important, especially when you get deep playoff runs. And then Anthony Hitchens has been a possible name out there as far as possible cut.
Yeah, I can see that.
You could see that.
Yeah.
Is that because of the emergence of the 2 young guys that we want to let?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and not to say he is a bad player, because he's definitely not. But yeah, having the young guys come in and with the speed and the potential that you can build with those guys, and for what he's done in the last couple of years with us, and financially what we're paying, I think it might be better off, to part ways with him and just throw the young guys in the fire. And, just say, hey, look, you guys have, gone through OTAs, you've gone through training camp, you've gone through preseason games. We think you're ready. We're gonna get rid of this guy and give you the keys. So, but he would be the name. And Tariq, heck, I guess that's how you say his name. Dude's ready. I mean, he's prepared either way. If he's on the squad, it's good to have the depth. If it's not, he's not going to miss anything. I mean, he's making good money as a doctor, so. But he can always be on call. I'll go find him a pager somewhere that we can send him a bat signal. Be ready.
Now, JD, with those 2 names, Hitchens or Tardif, you don't see.
Tardif, possibly, but I had actually somebody else on the offensive line that I see might be on the bubble. I ain't gonna say who.
No, you're not gonna.
All right, no, I don't want.
Well, hell, that's cheap. That's what we just asked you for a name.
I know it, man. I don't want to do that.
You don't want to jinx him or something?
What's that?
You don't want to jinx him or something?
I don't want to jinx him. No, I don't want to do that. I want to put it on.
Okay.
I want to put it on. Hey, look, I don't want to be on the chopping block knocking guys down, but I see a name I'm looking at right now, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Now, if he does get cut, will you let us know if this was the guy?
I sure will.
Okay.
I sure will.
That's fair. That's fair.
Text it to me so I know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. I was going to text it to you. Matter of fact, I got your phones right. I'm going to text it to you right now.
All right.
Okay.
JD's breaking some news for us, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. That's I honestly didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Hold on. I thought I had both of y'all on here. Y'all can say hell no or not, but
I mean, they didn't give him a lot of money, so that could make sense. I mean, you know, it's not like there's like a lot invested there.
We'll see. We'll keep it on the hush.
Yeah, we won't spoil that for you, JD. We'll keep it in the house.
Right.
All right. So the final Chief concern tonight is obviously we're about to watch the Chiefs play the Vikings, which is a team you guys saw almost every offseason back in the day. So what do you guys want to see in this final game? In the last week, we thought it was a dress rehearsal, but it turns out this one might be more of a dress rehearsal, playing a whole half. What do you guys really want to see? And as far as comparing to last week, what do you kind of want to like fix up? I mean, red zone offense, no Tyreek Hill last week. You know, we didn't really do much in the red zone. Mahomes, that pick, he misfired Mecole in the end zone. What do you guys want to see this week against the Vikings?
I just want to see the offense that we're known for. You know, I want to see a complete drive to where we can drive it down, punch it in the end zone, and then come back. And I'd like to see the full impact of what the defense is when we put all of our starters out there healthy and Chris Jones on the move. I would love to see him inside, outside throughout the game.
I like it.
So I want to see, man, more of these multiple tight end sets. Come on, man. I want to, hey, throw a little bit more in there. You know, give me a little bit more nuggets on that side of it. Just like I said, just put it out there for a little bit, put it on the shelf, right? Don't have to give you a hand the whole time. Other than that, I think it's going to be a good opportunity for some of the running backs to kind of, you know, show what they can do, just in case scenarios, right? It's just always scenarios. So that's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good battle, man, with some of the secondary, some of the corners. You know, who you going to keep on here? Who's going to stay on the team? And then, of course, you know, the wide receivers. That's what I'm looking for. Other than that, man, who's going to be return guy? Who's going to be return guy? Who you going to put in this week? So that's why I'm checking out.
Yeah, and honestly, with Darrell Williams and CH being out too, the running back situation, it's going to give guys like Jerick McKinnon and Darwin Thompson time to kind of to show themselves.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Darwin Thompson, you know, he's probably he's the fourth running back that we have. You know, his style, he could be on the bubble. You know, I'd love to see. I saw highlights of him in college. He's a shifty dude. I'd love to see him as a punt returner or kick returner. And obviously, we're looking for someone to take that spot. And I'd love to see him back there. And even Jerick McKinnon too. Let him get some reps back there. I hope they try to use these guys in these positions.
Yeah, I don't know, Jerry McKinnon. I don't know.
No,
He's been hurt. I don't want him to get hurt more than somewhere he can get hurt on special teams like that. You know, keep him in the backfield. He's good catching footballs out the backfield, man. You know.
But if he is the third running back, so yeah, CH, Darrell Williams, let's say all of them are healthy. He's a third guy.
Yeah.
And do you still want to see him at punt return or kick return? No, you still say no to that.
No. Only if you need him. He'll be my second choice. Only if you need him. So
there's not a lot of running backs that make good returners for a full season. You know, they might go out for a play or a series during a game and give you some good yardage. But as far as like the one to the house, the big returns, you don't get that out of a lot of running backs. You know, that's from those small, elusive, fast guys. So it usually comes from a receiver or some, DB or something. So, so that's when you're stretching to try to find a spot for those guys on the team, and that doesn't usually happen that way. So, unfortunately, we got to lose one of them, but right now we got two guys that are hurt, so they're in a good spot.
And Jamal Charles is the only one I can think of comes to mind when I think of Chief guys who are good return men. Niall Davis too, but
true.
Charles,
but there's no way I would leave Jamal Charles as a return guy to risk that injury. So yeah, when you need a big play, yeah, you throw it back there to see what he does during the game. But as far as your main return guy, heck no.
Yeah, well, he was LJ's backup at the time when he was our main return guy, and then once he took the job over, he wasn't doing returns anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, a lot to look for tonight. And it's the last time we'll see our guys that until it counts in 2 weeks. So Everyone needs to enjoy it tonight.
Yep.
All right. Well, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Chief Concerns presented by BetOnline. As always, if anyone at Chiefs Kingdom has any concerns for these two guys, please tweet at us at ConcernsChief. And next week, I know I teased it last week. I forgot. I got my dates mixed up. I'm sorry. In the late summer, I'm getting the dates mixed up. This coming week, Chief Focus will be coming on and merging with Chief Concerns. So focusing on the concerns that we're gonna call the episode. But
Okay, so we're gonna do it Wednesday or Thursday night?
I was gonna ask you guys, what do you guys prefer next week, Wednesday or Thursday? Do you guys want to start getting the habit of doing Wednesdays, just as we kind of get roll into?
Yeah, like I said,
We got Thursday night football. That's gonna be throughout the season. I like to catch and watch all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm down with Wednesday nights. We could go next Wednesday.
yeah. If now look, I told you if my schedule allows it, I'll do it. So I'll let y'all know for sure. All right.
yeah. And plus, most of the time, if I'm traveling, usually if I travel, I always leave on Thursday. So
Okay. So this helps with that then. Okay. All right. So we'll mark it in as Wednesday, and then we'll kind of talk about the times to make sure it works for everybody.
all right, that works.
Cool. So Wednesday night, focusing on the Chief Concerns with your guys from Chiefs Focus and Chief Concerns. So, guys, enjoy the game tonight. I hope everyone enjoys this Vikings Chiefs kind of tradition here, and enjoy it. We'll see you next week.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, brother. All right, you'll be good. All right.